Today is the dreaded month for Mario. Obviously, we are now in the month of March, which means on March 31st, Mario dies. And the fact that all these grand Mario celebratory ideas are going to end very soon is kind of sad. Like the Mario Battle Royale game, that's going to be gone, and along with the 3D Mario remasters. They're eventually just going to disappear from shelves after they sell out, and there's never going to be a restock for them, and you can't even purchase them online. But what's truly going to happen to these remasters? They're obviously three of Mario's biggest adventures yet, with 64, Sunshine, and Galaxy, and people love these games, and they ate them up, and from reports, this sold extremely well for 2020. So what happens to these games? Do they truly disappear forever? Not exactly. I actually have a theory as to what Nintendo's going to do, at least with the 3D Mario remasters. As far as the Battle Royale Mario game, I don't know where that's going to go, and that's probably going to be gone forever. But I have a theory that's probably going to be really exciting for people that still want to be able to purchase this game if they haven't already. And I could have a theory on a beloved sequel to a Grand Mario adventure that never came in the original pack. But before we get started, stop what you're doing and make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. Like the video and subscribe if you guys are new, and make sure that you can stay up to date on all things Nintendo and Mario alike. Thank you guys so much. Did you subscribe? Thank you, I appreciate it. Now, let's get back onto the video. One of the biggest parts of Mario's anniversary was the collection of Mario's three biggest titles, 64, Sunshine, and Galaxy on one cartridge. This was huge, and lots of people didn't believe this rumor that was circling around from the beginning, that they could have three Grand Mario adventures on the Switch. Now obviously they weren't all super optimized and looked great. 64 was still exactly the same, wasn't even widescreen, and some games such as Sunshine didn't even run at 60 frames per second. Nevertheless, we still received three Mario games in one cartridge, but we did get informed that on March 31st of 2021, these games would cease to exist. In fact, they would not only not be in stores and on shelves, but they would not be able to be purchased anywhere online. At least that's what we assume. But I don't know if that's going to be completely the truth. You may not be able to buy the collection pack, but I have a theory and I have a feeling that you'll be able to purchase individual games. And let me explain by a couple of means of what I think is going to happen here. So Zelda's anniversary has just passed, and I know Nintendo didn't mention anything, but I think it's safe to say they've been waiting for Mario to kind of die out in order to move on to the next anniversary, which is Zelda. Obviously, I think they're going to celebrate this. They're going to wait for its time to also show some more information on Breath of the Wild 2. It's a perfect way to have an anniversary video. But at the same time, there has been a lot of patent renewals for all of these old Zelda games. A lot of them. And they've been updating a lot of them online, and people have been noticing, such as Wind Waker and even Phantom Hourglass. And I think lots of people understand and pretty much expect Nintendo to reveal and release another collection pack full of Zelda games. Now, at first, I'd say those games would be Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, and Skyward Sword, but clearly Skyward Sword is getting the HD treatment similar to Mario 3D World. So I would actually go back and say the games are probably going to be Ocarina of Time for a Nintendo 64 game, Wind Waker for a GameCube game, and technically you could say Twilight Princess as the Wii game. But what's interesting here is many other Zelda games got mentioned on this list. For instance, Phantom Hourglass, which probably would have, Spirit Tracks with it if that game made it. And what about games like Majora's Mask? You kind of have to have that one as well, since it was a huge icon on the Nintendo 64. These are too many games to have in a collection pack. You're not going to have a collection pack of Zelda games that exceeds 3 games, and even 3 games is a lot to take in. So what is Nintendo going to do there? Well, I think a lot of these games are going to just get dropped and placed on the eShop, and there's even been rumors of Nintendo experimenting with different ways to put GameCube games on the eShop. When looked at the Mario 3D remasters, each game is almost ROM-based and completely hacked from a ROM and pulled that way, and it's really a copy of the original game and not really the original game. And lots of people have been speculating this could be the way that Nintendo implements GameCube games, and maybe this is how they want to start that, by now just dropping these online. But that means people would not have to pay for them to play them, and that would be kind of scummy to make people pay for all those Mario games and now get them for free just a year later. And when I say for free, I'm expecting this to not really be an eShop title, but really some type of new NES or SNES catalog of games. But now with the GameCube, obviously, or maybe even the 64 next. Who knows where they go. But actually, I'm going to backtrack and say that these might actually be paid games. These might be separate games that you can go onto the Nintendo eShop and pay separately for, maybe $20 a game. Now, yes, once again, $20 for a Nintendo 64 game is kind of outrageous, especially when they didn't do any anything to kind of fix it, but it's Nintendo we're talking about here, so it's probably likely. But there's a lot of games here on the table to look at, and with all those Mario games plus a ton of Zelda games that could potentially be coming, there's no better way to sell these than to drop them on the eShop and have them able to be purchased, and maybe a new type of catalog there where you can go to 64 or GameCube games and purchase anything that you like for a obviously discounted price, since the game is being bought separately. This would be very interesting, and especially with Phantom Hourglass, could open the door for even some DS games to come to the Switch, the same way they did for Virtual Console on the Wii U. Which leads me to one of my big theories. Where is Mario Galaxy 2? Well, I think they were waiting for this. This was actually originally planned to be within the original collection pack, but Nintendo just couldn't fit it in for some reasons, whether it was spacing or time. I really don't know exactly, and it's hard to say, but Mario Galaxy 2 was planned accordingly. So this is a perfect way to get the game out by simply dropping it on the eShop and saying, hey, you can purchase this separately, and maybe it'll just be added to your collection that you already own, or you can just play it separately. I really don't know how Nintendo is going to handle that, but that would be an awesome way to bring back a classic Mario game that kind of missed the mark. And since Zelda is apparently going to get a lot of Zelda games brought onto the Switch, it would just make sense to throw that one in maybe at the last second. I know sometimes Nintendo can be deaf when it comes to their fans asking for new things or asking for Nintendo to do something, like let's just take Mother for instance, that's never coming, Earthbound, goodness gracious, but I think there's something to be said about the community coming together and asking for a game and making it a meme at that point. And I think Nintendo realizes that, man, they kind of missed the mark with not having Mario Galaxy 2. It's one of the only big Mario games that they completely skipped out on, and I really think it's the only one without going into the 2D games. So Nintendo has to jump onto this train and put that on the Switch. I think it just makes sense, and I think it's a great way to have a little game here when it's kind of quiet. I mean, the springtime is perfect. There's really nothing coming out until June, and we really have 3 months of quietness from Nintendo with no real games being announced or being dropped. So this would be a perfect time to get some stuff like this out already, and then to give us some old classic Mario games to play right before the anniversary ends at the end of March. That would be really cool, but regardless, I think Zelda is going to come in pretty big with a lot of games, and there's going to have to be a place to put them, and I think the eShop makes perfect sense. But guys, let me know what you think. Do you think any of these Zelda games are actually coming? Do you think we have a chance to get Mario Galaxy 2 on the Switch? Can any of this happen, or is Nintendo just going to abandon all these Mario games and then also do the same thing with Zelda after a certain period of time? Well, we don't have much longer to find out. I feel like we're going to get some news very soon here in the month of March, and I'm sure something is going to come to give us some excitement. But let me know in the comments down below what you guys think. Are you guys excited? Are you guys kind of just like, this is not going to happen? And also, feel free to like the video and subscribe if you guys are new to stay up to date on all things Nintendo. But thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I will see you all on the next one. See you guys.